So, hi everyone. Hello. Okay. So, I'm Harsha. As you can see from the very nice slide, I'm from ET Ideas. And ET Ideas is a platform of entrepreneurs who develop individuals to step out of the system and solve world problems. In short, we're discovering solutions to world problems. Okay. So, first of all, what are world problems? Any ideas?
Not my problem.
Yeah, you're right. It's not your problem, it's our problem. It's a world problem. So, things like global warming. Like, did you know, based on this study done in 2012, in about 2020, all of this blue area that you see will be affected by climate change, either underwater or something really tragic, some weather changes that will affect human life and everything. All these blue parts. And the yellow parts too, because if the blue parts are affected, so are the rest of the world, okay? And it's not just climate change, even though that's a big deal, but it's also things like war, things like overpopulation. See, nice slide, right? I like this slide, because you can clearly see that if we don't do something, we're all going to start falling off the world. The thing is, with all these problems that are currently going on in the world, like, can you guys name some? Depression, stress, hate, racism. These are all things that we all know about. You name some yourself. Even if you didn't name some, you probably saw it on social media or on the internet, in newspapers, on the news itself. And everybody knows about these kind of things. It's no secret, right? Despite the fact that we all know about it and that it's being taught in schools and in the media and everything, not much action has been taken to actually stop it, which actually works. Because if we have a working solution, then they wouldn't still be here. You wouldn't have all these hundreds of newspaper articles and people talking about it, right? We would just be solving it. But it doesn't mean that people aren't looking into this, because people are putting a lot of time, money, and effort into solving these problems. So why is it that nothing seems to be happening, that we can't seem to solve it? It's because a lot of us are still looking at the effects of global warming and climate change and all these world problems. We treat the things that you can see, not the actual cause of it. Like, what is an effect and what is the root cause of it? It's like, you guys know Hira, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Hira, my sister, the other day, if you saw, she was limping around with crutches because she fell down and dislocated her knee. It was funny, right, guys? Yeah, it was pretty funny. Except for Hira, it was very funny. Okay. So Hira was limping around, and Hira went to the doctor, okay? And the doctor said, okay, you dislocated your knee. Here is some painkillers, alright? That was the doctor treating the effect, which is her knee got dislocated, okay? But does taking the painkillers actually solve the problem? It's a temporary solution. It solves the effect of the problem, that she cannot walk and she's in pain, so that's solved because painkillers. But it doesn't solve the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem was not that she fell down. It's the things that were building up before she fell. It was the way she walks, the way she carries herself, the way her weight is distributed among her legs, and things like that. It's the way she's been living her life that has contributed to her one leg being stronger than the other and her eventually falling down. So, can a doctor prescribe medicine for this? Yes, the doctor cannot say, here is a detailed plan on how you change your walking style and everything. The doctor can't do that, because you cannot just treat the root cause the same way you treat the effect. To treat a root cause, you need to go to the very root of the problem, the very repetitional thing you're doing, which is causing this problem. So, what does that translate into things like world problems? You know, things like campaigns which they have to stop cutting down trees and everything, right? Those things are really good because it helps you get aware of it, right? Okay, trees are being cut down, let's have a campaign to raise awareness that we should not be doing this. Or the ocean is polluted, let's have a campaign, or let's talk to people on how we can stop this. Or just pick up trash from the floor. That helps. All of those things help. But it's still looking at the effects of it. it doesn't really go to why the rubbish is there in the first place. It doesn't really go to why people are cutting trees down in the first place. Because it doesn't show how the problem came about. It shows what we're doing now to patch up the problem so it doesn't become worse. So in order for us to solve world problems, we need to go to the very thing that's causing the world problems. Which is, anyone want to take a guess? Humans. Lifestyle. So all of these things basically goes back to the system. I love this slide. I got it from the Matrix. I just copied it and then I pasted all the numbers and everything. It's very nice. And the thing is about the system is, it's not some scary computer program that's been running around for the last 20 years or so. No, it's the very way we live our life. Like Hira and her knee, it's the way she lives her life. It's the way she's known since she was walking, right? When she was a kid. Same thing, the system is every little thing we do, every small action that we take, which we aren't even aware of most of the time. And it's not wrong or right, it's just the system of how we live our lives. Like, let me give you an example, okay? That's me, right? So, I'm Harsha. Hello, I'm 14 and I go to school most of the time. And I wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. every day. This is the system of my life and how I'm contributing to this problem, okay? So 6 a.m. every morning, I normally wake up. And I wake up, I live in this apartment building, okay? So it's an apartment complex, which a lot of other people live there too. And before the apartment complex was there was probably an open field there, like most places would have been before things were built on it. And an open field with trees and grass and maybe small animal species, cockroaches, rabbits, things like that would have probably lived there, alright? And plenty of trees and everything. But in order to build that apartment complex, all of that had to be cleared off. The species would have to go and find somewhere else to live. Trees would have died in millions or however big that apartment complex is, and so on. So I wake up every morning and I've already caused destruction to the place that I'm living in. I've already killed several species or several types of animals. I've already wiped out a small patch of trees and everything. And I'm already a mass murderer by just waking up every day. So 6 a.m. every morning, that's my day. And I haven't started it yet, mass murdering, that's how I roll. And I need to go to school, right? So I go to school and I get my mom to drive me because I'm very lazy to walk and it's 6 a.m. in the morning and I'm still half sleep deprived. So my mom drives me to the bus stop, okay? It's maybe a 5-10 minute drive from my apartment complex to the bus stop, and we take a car and we go. The journey to the bus stop, in the car releases carbon dioxide, or monoxide, I'm not sure which one, but it releases carbon into the atmosphere. And from that, the pollution in the atmosphere, greenhouse gases, traps the heat of the sun on Earth so that temperatures rise dramatically. You guys know this, right? It's all over the news. It's been in every global warming campaign that you've seen since, what, the 70s? So it's well-known facts. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to start walking at 6 a.m. in the morning to the bus stop, because it's still quite a distance. And that doesn't mean that everyone else who's taking a ride to the bus stop is going to stop and start walking there either. But we're not done yet. So I get to the bus stop, and from the bus stop I take a bus. Makes sense, right? And I take a bus, and it takes 45 minutes for the bus from the bus stop to get to my school, okay? Not just me, but everyone else in the bus who comes there. We're all kind of, you could say, carpooling, because we're all sharing one vehicle and getting there, right? So it's good in a sense because we're reducing the amount of carbon that all of us send out into the atmosphere. But at the same time, we are still releasing a lot of pollution, right? Because every day we're doing this. Every morning, when you come back from school, so every day you're coming back home, and that carbon releases out 45 minutes on the road on Monday morning rush hour traffic, where there's hundreds of other cars out there doing the same, everyone checking their watches in a traffic jam as their cars pollute the environment. And all of this goes to make our planet warmer, and you can see now the effects of climate change, where you go outside in the sun and you automatically get the worst time in the street and then you come back in. And that's the thing. I have just gotten to school, it's 8 o'clock, and I've already boiled my planet like soup. So now I'm in school, my day hasn't actually started yet, and it's really damn warm, and I'm very lucky I go to the school which we have air conditioning, and we have in my class about 15 people who are just got out of their vehicles and cars, and it's the first lesson of the week and we're all super tired. So we get in, and as cranky as we are, we have the effort to reduce the aircon to the lowest temperature, that is about 16 degrees Celsius. And so the aircon cools down the place, since we already polluted the world outside and made it super warm, so now we're all chill and cool and everything. But by doing that, the aircon releases more pollution into the environment, which goes back into the carbon cycle and things like that, which makes it warmer. And it's not just me and my one classroom, it's every classroom in that school. And there's not just one school in the world, there's many other schools there. So this happens every single day. It's not something that we stop and everything. And wait, I'm not done. So then I go to break. Bear in mind my break's about 10 o'clock. I'm from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock, I've already caused lots and lots of pollution, lots and lots of not so nice things I've done to my planet, and things like that. And now I go to school, and the worst thing I could ever do, I do. I buy food in plastic. You guys know plastic is not exactly the best substance on the planet. And you guys know how it makes soil infertile, it chokes a couple of helpless sea turtles and things in the ocean and everything. Plastic is not exactly the nicest thing I can buy, but I'm still hungry, it's break, I need food. So I buy my food, and when I'm done with it, I throw it all in a plastic bag and I put it in the trash. Now this itself, as you know about the sea turtles and the poor soil and everything, is not exactly a good thing. So what I do is me and my friends, we come together, okay, we use one plastic bag and we put it all aside and throw it away. So it's good because we're reducing the things that we do. But at the same time, all of us are still contributing to this problem, which is global warming, climate change, and so on, so on. All these world problems are being caused by a bunch of students who are cranky in the morning and have just gone to class. It's a normal day for us. And it's not just us doing it. Every single person has their system, the way they live their life. And whether we are aware of it or not, the way we have lived our lives is contributing to the problem. Again, it's not wrong, because tomorrow morning I can't say, okay, since we have this new finding, none of us are allowed to use cars anymore. We shall all just walk to every destination we need to get to. On the bright side, I wouldn't have to go to school. On the not so bright side, nobody would get anything done, because it's just impractical. That's the way the system is. That's the way we live our lives. We can't suddenly, abruptly stop it. So then what do we do about it? Because I can't keep going on with my mass murdering streak right now, and I'm not that good of a cook to boil my planet. So what can we do about it? How do we change this? We need to change the system. So to change the system, we need to change the people. Because the people is what makes the system run. Again, people aren't good or bad. This is just the way we've been brought up, the way that our parents have been brought up, and so on, so on. So, to change the people the way we've been brought up, we need to start from young. Because you can't change someone who's been living their life the way they live it right now. Like, you remember the car thing, I can't say it, right? Okay, everyone, let's stop using cars. It doesn't work like that. We need to start from young, from the youngsters, because it took several generations for us to make the system the way it is, to make these problems. So it's going to take several generations for us to create a new system to solve these problems. Right? Make sense? The thing about it is, in order to start young, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to get these youngsters and all ready? Oh, how do we start doing it? ET ideas. ET ideas, what we do is we change culture 1% at a time. Because we can't suddenly go brainwash a bunch of children in a hospital like, okay, from now on we stop causing pollution and everything. And what we can do right now, each and every one of us, we can change ourselves. We can change individual people. Because you change one person, you impact the people around them. You impact the people around them, they impact the people around them. So it's a ripple effect. You change one person at a time, you change the system. But it all needs to start at 1%. witty ideas basically gets people to change. How do we change people, okay? How can one person affect the whole thing? Alright. There's this thing called the 4 stages of life. You may or may not have heard of it, even though if you probably don't know about it, you have got some idea about it, because it's an age-old thing from various scriptures, various places. Lots of people have talked about it, have different names for it, and so on, okay? And the 4 stages of life is basically learning, which is your first 20 stages, experiencing the next 20, contemplation, and letting go. Learning, the first stage, is the one I'm in, remember? But I'm not in it because I go to school or anything. School is something different. It's not about learning maths or science or history. It's about learning about things like giving first, doing your best, teamwork, creativity. These are things you pick up from young. It's habit patterns that you get from when you're learning, when you're under 20. So maybe I can share an example of myself. How I as one person in this learning stage, it's contributing back to the bigger picture. I'm a normal kid, goes to school. You already heard my math instruction story earlier. And in my free time, what I do is, I learned about things like giving my best. I learned about things like teamwork, being truthful. So I thought, what can I do to solve all of this? And I work with this team called Ascendance. Ascendance basically goes out to the youngsters of today, and we help them figure out what it is they love doing so that they can have an idea on how they can step out of the system. Okay? That's what Ascendance does. So I call up schools, I call up companies, I do all these things by giving my best. So I'm giving my best out there so that other people can step out of the system, and I'm just one person. Imagine what we can do if a lot of other people learn about these things in the first 20 years of their life. Then they too would give their best to solving these world problems. Alright? Following your heart. Alright. How does following your heart help? Okay, how does learning about it in the first 20 years do any good? Okay? Here's the thing. When I learned about following my heart, when I learned about what it is I love to do, it got me to take a step back from the way that we're programmed to live, like go to school, go to college, get a job and everything. That's how all of us know. Every school child's vision is that, because that's what they know. That's how the system is. So by figuring out what you love doing, you were given a choice. You give yourself the choice to start to start working on something. And when you're given that choice, you step back from the system and you can see the system for what it is, because you're no longer participating in that. You're no longer participating in the process flow of a 9-to-5 job. You're doing what you love away from what is expected of you. And that gets you to step back, look at the world as it is, and eventually find solutions to world problems. Right? That's what you can do in the learning stage. And again, I'm one person, there's a lot of other people doing this, but we shall go to the next stage for now. The next stage, experiencing, again, not there yet, so I shall call someone who has actually been in this stage before. Welcome.
Okay. So, experiencing life, the pace of experiencing life should be following your heart. It's the second stage of life where you use all the things you studied in the first stage, and then you go into the second stage and you apply it. You have the job that you love doing. You have you have relationships. You have a family. You have children. So you travel. Do whatever your heart wants to do, and this is what experiencing life, or the second stage of life, is. However, I did not really learn the first stage of life the way she described earlier. For me, the first stage of life was more on achieving material goals, doing well in school, getting a good job, doing really well in the good job, getting married, have kids, die, kind of thing. Okay, but I was never taught that one, there was another 2 stages beyond this experiencing stage. Secondly, what was really essential in the learning stage, which was listening to your heart. I wasn't really taught about listening to your heart. I wasn't taught to be truthful. I wasn't taught to give my best. These were all not actually taught, and this was because it's the current system I'm living in. However, I've been lucky enough that my heart did knock the door a few times, and I did listen to it. So I did did understand this, and how my heart actually knocked on my door is, I was successful here, but there were other areas of my life that I wasn't successful in terms of my happiness. That's when it knocks on the door, the heart knocks on the door and says, there's something else, there's another stage. And that's when we move on to the next stage. The next stage is the contemplation stage. The contemplation stage is when you make sense of your journey. Why are you doing this? Who am I? What am I here actually to do? What's my purpose? So you actually go on to the phase of what is more meaningful. For many people, they say life starts after 40. This is what it means. Okay, it was a few years before I reached 40. This is the honest truth. Okay? It was a few years before I reached 40. I was about 37. This is when the knocking started really loud. Okay, this is when I started thinking there must be something else more than just living my life like this. Why is this important that we go into this stage? If you don't go into this stage and you get stuck in the experiencing stage, where I see most of my friends and people dear to me is, you keep on accumulating and your heart no longer wants that, but you are afraid to let go of this comfort zone. What happens is you're no longer aligned to nature. When you're no longer aligned to your heart and you're no longer aligned to nature, other areas of destruction start coming. You become unhappy, but you lose closeness with your relationship, the passion and happiness working in the job that you're doing, but you don't understand why. Okay? So the stages that you move on is the contemplation stage. Once you make sense, like what I've done now I've moved on to share my experiences in my life to others, and at the same time take the journey of understanding myself. So in this stage, I'm happy again. I'm free, I'm happy, I'm doing my purpose, and it is a joy that you can only understand if you're there. The next stage is the letting go stage. I am not here yet, but I can relate, I can see what my mentor is doing. His name is Ilango Tiagu. He is the founder of ET Ideas, and the reason why he founded ET Ideas, of course, is listening to his heart, but also because he stepped into the letting go stage. This is where he's letting go his knowledge, his experience, the money he has accumulated into supporting the younger generation, into creating a platform for them so that they can do what they came here to do in a shorter period of time but greater heights. So they can actually find the solutions for the world problem without really going through the experiences of the earlier generation. Okay? And the other thing is, this is the part where you really know truly about yourself. You really flow with nature. Okay, this one is borrowed words. Okay, I have not experienced this, but this is where he says, nature sustains you. You flow with nature. Whatever you give back, it actually comes back more to you, and nature sustains you.
Alright, so here's the thing. ET Ideas is based on the 4 stages of life. But how does that solve world problems? That's probably the question that's playing in your mind. Well, it does, and let me tell you a little bit on how it does. When you are starting out from young, knowing about the 4 stages of life, you aren't so focused on things like accumulating lots of stuff that you don't need. You're more to listening to your heart, right? So you take what you need. If your heart tells you, once you've moved on to the experiencing stage, that you need 5 houses and 5 cars, you do that. Because that's what you need to in order to learn, right? Your heart knows what you need in order to learn. So you experience life, but you're not hoarding it. Once you're done with your lessons, once you no longer need it, or once your heart's no longer in it, you give it back in the contemplation stage, in the letting go stage, and so on. So the focus of life is no longer accumulating things. It's no longer taking more than what you need. You're no longer blinded by fear of not having enough. And you're no longer worried that, and you no longer want more than what you actually need to sustain yourself, to learn. So even accumulating has purpose. Accumulating becomes something that you take when in that stage, but when you no longer need it, you give it back. And when everyone only takes what they need, nothing more, nothing less, then nature can flow its course. It's something like this. If we all take what we need, there's no extra anywhere. Everything goes back to fill up the gaps which things lack in. Like one thing, maybe I can share a little bit about this. One thing I heard when I went for the Social Business Summit and one thing they said was this: there is a huge gap between the rich and the poor, because the rich have so much, but the poor have not enough. So when you live life according to the 4 stages of life, you don't need to hoard things. So what the extra you have, the unnecessary parts which you don't use, goes back for those who need it, those who can take it. So there's no longer a rich or a poor. There's just what I need, and I take that, and what you need, you can have that. So it becomes the way that every other species lives on this planet, with what you need. And when everyone is focused on what you need, then people can follow their heart freely, because you have everything you need to do what you need to do. And if you don't, you have the ways and means to get what you need to do what you love to do. And once you have those resources, like the platform that ET Ideas is creating to unite the wiser generation with the younger generation, to get the resources from the Gen X and the baby boomers to complement with the ideas of and the energy of the Gen Ys and the Gen Z. So we unite experience with ideas, resources with energy. And when we have that, we have a platform to experiment on our ideas, where people are free to, they know that they're following their heart, they have the new ideas, because the younger generation has the solutions to the problems that were created, and also they have the platform where they can execute these ideas. As Valsala said, they no longer have to go through 40 years of hardship to get enough resources to work on what they love doing. They no longer have to wait 40 years to put their ideas to save the world into use. Because probably if they wait for 40 years, the world will be underwater. But this way, we can move quicker as a species. This way, when we all work together, which is happening right now, not only in ET Ideas but all over the world, things move faster, solutions come faster. And once we have this platform, when those people will have the ideas which will revolutionize our world and solve these world problems come along, which they're already there and we're looking for them and they are looking for us, then world problems can be solved because we have the resources, we have the ideas, it's just a matter of uniting the two. That's what the 4 stages of life gets people to see, that's what they gets them to do, that's what ET Ideas is doing. And with that, this presentation comes to a close. But let's take a look in the future, okay? I already told you about my day, how I live my life every single day, and how there's mass murdering and boiling planets. So, with the 4 stages of life in place, with what ET Ideas and the rest of the world is trying to do, let's see how the future looks like. So, I wake up in the morning. Now, I no longer have to worry about living in a place which has caused mass destruction, because where I live now is among the trees. It's among it's among nature, where other species are there too. They don't attack me, hopefully. And we all live in harmony. The temperature is very cool now. I no longer need to use air conditioning because there's a lot of trees around, so that makes the temperature colder and cooler. And I still need a jacket, like as you know that I'm very fond of jackets because I get cold easily, and with all the trees and all, I still need a jacket. But instead of this harmful material which makes the world, I don't know, which ends up into the rubbish heaps on our planet, I have a biodegradable jacket which is super cool and super in fashion. And that's the way I dress, that's the place I live in. So everything I do is in line with nature. Bear in mind, biodegradable fashion is indeed the future. It's already in working stages and a lot of places have it. Bear in mind that this concept of living among the trees and in a nature-friendly environment is not idealistic and people actually live there. And there's Wi-Fi everywhere around where I live, which is possible as well, as you guys know. And now I need to go to, well, I wouldn't call it school, but I need to go to a place. And I need to go to this place to meet up with people like me so that we can discuss some stuff, right? And I'm going to this place, but now I don't have to take my car to a bus stop, to airport or wherever it is I need to go. I just step into my teleportation device and I'm there. Again, not idealistic because this is actually possible. Science already is in the works to make teleportation a reality, and they already have transported a couple of particles across cities, so it's not that far in the future. So I'm in this new place, maybe I'm in Tokyo? Alright, so I'm in Tokyo. And I go to another beautiful building among the trees and everything. And I go in there and I'm talking to the people I came to meet. And we're all sitting down in this beautiful place and we're having this discussion, right? And now we are hungry. So we're hungry and you know, normally when you're hungry you go to a store, and in the store then you have to buy food which has been pre-packed and preservatives and everything and all those unhealthy stuff. So yeah, now we no longer have to do that. All we have to do is we have to go to this one machine, plug in a couple of numbers, think about what you need, you want to eat, maybe nasi lemak or I don't know, McDonald's. And the food materializes on the plate. The machine does that for you. And it's healthy because the machine knows the right way to combine atoms, which is possible, just a combination of atoms. That will be good for your tummy and be good for your taste as well. So now I have this food and I'm eating my food and I'm really happy and everything's good. But my time has been freed up because I no longer have to transport myself by car or by bus or anything. I no longer have to cook or clean or do anything. There are machines and systems in place to take care of that for me. So I go back to my group of people, and what is it we're doing? We are not solving world problems because they've already been solved. In fact, that's often a funny conversation for us. Hey, remember when we had so many problems in the world? Nah man, that was so long ago. You still remember that? How old are you? So yeah. 16. So yeah, that's the conversations we have. And in our time, what are we looking at? We're looking at intergalactical travel. What's out there? Why are we here? What's beyond this? And at the same time, we're looking at ourselves. Who are we? Why are we here? What's next?